third ringing of the bell is from a gentleman, Oscar Phillip Benjamin, 9/11 survivor and Pennsauken resident. He's here today to share his story. We thank you so much. If you please have the ringing of the bell in a moment of silence.
Morning, everyone. Thank you, Mayor Batista, our guests, and friends and neighbors in Pennsauken. It's a great day to be alive in Pennsauken. I got thrown off a little bit here this morning because those bagpipers just played greatest song ever written. And it brings back difficult memories. But let me say that when I went to the Pentagon, I answered their call in February. I had no idea that I was about to embark on the most adventurous and demanding times of my entire career. I was brought there to lend law enforcement expertise to all the military intelligence gathered. All the military, CIA, DIA intelligence that was gathered by the Operations Intelligence Cell came across my desk to put that law enforcement spin on it. We believe this may have been the very first national fusion center that would become popular. I think there's about 72 of them in the nation at this time. Taking that information, fusing that together, was then my duty to brief the Army senior leadership on threats that were going on. The morning of September 11th started out as any other day. I was in the SCIF, Special Compartmented Information Facility, before dawn. I didn't know what a beautiful day it was outside. I reviewed the night's intelligence, reviewed and approved the worldwide threat message, and took it down to see Brigadier General Vaughn. He approved it, signed it. We sent that message worldwide, telling Army and Marine Corps units what was going on in the world and what they could expect. 0700, I was briefing the Army senior leadership on what we knew that had occurred the night before and what we could expect and what we needed to prepare. About 8 o'clock, off to breakfast, back to my office, sitting there. CNN, Fox News, other monitors are playing behind us. We have all our high security computers on in front of us. And I hear one of the announcers say, "Oh, a small plane has just flown in the World Trade Center." And, okay. Turn around and looked like a lot more damage to a small plane. Shortly thereafter, the second plane hit. And it was, oh, heck, this is it. Start gathering resources. We were on a skeleton crew at the time. A lot of the Army senior leadership was out of town. We have a crisis action team in the Army Operations Center. It's largely staffed by mobilization designee reservists. They weren't there. They trained there every year, but they weren't there. So it was a core of about 10 or 12 of us just started pulling things together, trying to see what the Army response was going to be to New York. I drafted a couple people, a lieutenant colonel out of the counter-drug program. There's a young Air Force guy working down the hall. Jimmy, come with us, because the phones were ringing. We're on the phone with FAA and National Security Agency, Air Force and Operations Center. Later point, about a half hour later, we hear there's still one plane unaccounted for in the District of Columbia metropolitan area. We start spinning our wheels. Next report we have It is east over Reagan National. Some of you may know it's probably less than a mile and a quarter from the Pentagon. Oh, that's it. We're the target. Sprinted from my desk down to see Major General Corelli, Director of Army Operations. And as I run into his office, he has an XO who I've never seen before. It's about yay big and 280 pounds. And I start running for the general's office. He said, "You can't go in there." And he looked like a WWE wrestler. He almost took me off my feet. "You can't go in there. He's on the phone with the Chief of Staff of the Army." I said, "Good, I need to talk to him too." I ducked under, ran in, and interrupted him. I said, "Sir, the next attack is coming here." And he's like, "Chief, I'm a chief." He's talking to the chief. I'm a much lower chief. And he said, "Wait a minute, the chief has something to say." He said, "It's coming here." And I said, "It's coming right here, now." And he said, "Start to evacuate." And what we found out was the Pentagon at the time had no central communications ability whatsoever. We could only talk to the people in the Army Operations Center in the immediate vicinity. Runners started running office to office, telling them, "Civilians and contractors, evacuate immediately. Soldiers, man repose." Probably 6 to 10 minutes, time is lost on me. There's a slate shudder, the sound of an explosion. We knew we were hit, didn't know where. But we're continuing to draw assets, calling up forces. We stayed in there. I can't tell you how long I stayed in the operations center. I can't tell you when I ate again. At some point, the colonel from operations comes down and says, "The general wants a sit rep, situation report of what's outside. What do we need?" Don't even remember how we got out. I just remember that when we came back, we came in on our hands and knees. There was black smoke outside our door, down to my knees. So we did an army crawl, basically, back into the operations center. And all things went on from then. A few things that that really struck me. We're in the basement, and one floor above us, maybe 100 feet over, the building is totally on fire. And Annandale and Arlington, Virginia firefighters and rescuers are in there doing their best to get people out. It was kind of surreal. As we turned, we had these huge commercial TV monitors, and they're showing that we're on fire. And we all looked at each other like, "That's us. We're burning, the building's collapsing." Not one person in that Army Operations Center left their desk. Everybody continued to do their job. We did lose 2 people from our office that day. You know, I'm here because of them. Some of the other things. Well, I finally did get outside. A quick memory. We encountered a gentleman by the name of Craig Sincock. Craig, this is the day after, seemed to be lost. Didn't seem to know where he was or what he was doing. Colonel Bruce Fargo and I approached him, see if he was okay, and he said his wife was in the building and he hadn't been able to get her on the phone for a day and a half. Turns out he was a National Guard member, and he wasn't being allowed close in. He said, "Craig, go home, get your uniform on, come back." Unfortunately, we later learned that Cheryl Sincock was one of those killed in the Army G3 Operations Center, Operations Office. Another thing that I got to tell you about, it's somewhat local to us, all the fire engines on that first day that I got out, fire engines, rescue people, FBI is there, FEMA, everybody's working at concert. Red Cross. I looked on the hillside, and who was set up but the Salvation Army. And those folks had a big trailer up, gates were open, and they're going through the crowds, checking on soldiers' well-being, sailors' well-being. Do you need a cup of coffee? Do you need socks? Your shirt's torn. Let me find your shirt. Just amazing what they did that day and how they got an operation so quickly. From there on, all bets were off. The Army was in operation within 3 days. We had a full crisis action team in business. Planning was ongoing to find and kill, capture Osama bin Laden. One other great memory is you've probably seen a caricature of a fireman in New York in a pit at the World Trade Center handing up a flag to a soldier who says, "We'll take it from here." The original of that hung outside my office for about 3 months, and a great inspiration to us. Another great observation was absolute unity of this country. Nobody cared about politics. Nobody cared about anything else except we were Americans. People we didn't know were sending messages in, food in. I was standing in a corner one morning next to General Corelli. We were having a cup of coffee. We just had a sandwich together. And he reaches down, he picks up a brownie, and he's opening a brownie, and all of a sudden, tears start down his face. He hands me a note that was in that brownie. I can't repeat it because I'll cry again today. But it was from a little 8 or 9-year-old boy from a predominantly or a historically black Baptist church in North Carolina, sending us his love. This is one country. Thank you for having me. God bless America.